Welcome to Impatient History, the History of Telling Time, Episode 3. I'm the Impatient Historian. In the previous episode, we learned that the Sumerians had a lunar calendar of 12 months, with an extra month added every few years to keep the calendar on track with the solar year. And the ancient Egyptians had two calendars, one based on the solar year and one based on lunar cycles. There are about 12.37 lunar months in a solar year, and some ancient societies figured out a pattern. The Babylonians of the 2nd millennium BC recognized a 19-year cycle of 235 lunar months. They kept their lunar calendar on track with the solar year over this 19-year period by alternating 7 13-month years with 12 12-month years. The ancient Chinese and Greeks also recognized this 19-year lunar cycle. Ancient Jewish society operated on a lunar calendar, and the Jews added an extra month of Adar every 3 years to make up for the calendar lag. Muslim societies also followed a lunar calendar for religious events, with no additions to reconcile with the solar year, so religious holidays came a bit earlier each year. Did all ancient societies recognize these solar and lunar cycles? Not exactly. Let's cross the ocean and a couple of millennia from the Babylonians and Jews to the Maya of Central America, whose civilization flourished in the first 10 centuries of our era. Like the Egyptians, the Maya, along with other Mesoamerican cultures, had two calendars, but they operated on different cycles than those of the aforementioned societies. The Maya had a 365-day calendar, the Hab, that comprised 18 20-day months and was used for agricultural purposes. The 5 days at the end were a period of purification when people were expected to abstain from some usual activities. But an even older Mesoamerican calendar was the Tzolk'in, which dates back to the 6th century BC. It contained a cycle of 13 numbers matched to a cycle of 20 day names that produced a 260-day cycle of uniquely labeled days. But what is significant about the number 260? It might have been based on the 263-day cycle of Venus, an important heavenly object to the Maya. Like the early British peoples, Maya built structures with astronomical alignments, and some ancient Maya buildings contain windows that offer direct sightlines to Venus at defined times. Or it could be that the ancient Maya noticed that the sun crossed a zenith at a particular point every 260 days. 260 days also corresponds to the human gestation period. While we aren't entirely certain of the reason for a 260-day cycle, we do believe that the Tzolk'in calendar was used for religious purposes. The Hab and Tzolk'in calendars aligned every 52 years, and Mesoamericans had a round, or long count calendar, that measured the 52-year cycles created by the combination of the two calendars. The Aztecs used the same calendar systems, though with their own names. The study of days, months, and years was a complex and esteemed art in Mesoamerican culture. In the 16th century, a Spanish clergyman described a Mayan high priest whose duties involved the keeping, calculating, recording, and foretelling of both time and astronomical events. His knowledge served all aspects of Maya society: religious, social, scientific, and political. For example, Venus was important to the Mesoamericans. Understanding Venus's predictable movement in the sky provided knowledge about the best times to engage in certain activities, such as war. A lot more could be said about ancient calendars all over the world, but I'm an impatient historian. So in our next episode, we'll move on to the next topic in this series, hours and clocks. Thanks for watching episode 3 of Impatient Histories, the history of telling time.